Salutations, people of the internet. Welcome to the database. You know, growing up here, no matter what season it is in your area, it's always sunny in Hawaii. No joke, it's always freaking hot here, so much I never experienced the cold air of winter or the change in leaves in autumn. Someday, not now, but someday, I like to move out of Hawaii and experience the winter on my own. But for now, all of this is just to say I'm talking about Super Mario Sunshine this week. Released in 2002, a year after the launch of the Nintendo GameCube, Super Mario Sunshine is the second next step into Mario's platforming in 3D. It's considered by many Mario fans as the black sheep out of all 3D Mario games that came before and after this. Many factors include its difficulty spike, to how the game's collectibles are handled compared to its 64 predecessor. It has fine-tuned some of the issued general mechanics from Super Mario 64, while also introducing a new mechanic that would make this game stand out in the form of water. To be fair, this would make sense to review this game during the summer, but I know for damn sure American states like California, Florida, and Hawaii never experience any snow. So reviewing this game now is justified. While everyone around the world is enjoying the cold, I'm gonna enjoy the nice hot sun by reviewing Super Mario 64. Let's begin.
Super Mario Sunshine! Woohoo!
Well, after dealing with the King Koopa invading the insides of Peach's castle, this justifies the Mushroom Kingdom having a tropical vacation. As the Mushroom residents travel to Isle Delfino, home of the dumbest residents of the island, the Pinatas, upon landing, they notice a large amount of goop on the driveway as Mario also found Flood,
a flash liquidizer auto-dousing device
made by Professor Egad from Luigi's Mansion, a spin-off game that launched alongside the GameCube that stars Luigi in a leading role since Mario is missing. With Flood, he uses it to get rid of the goop, but suddenly sees himself getting arrested by the Pinata police, and was sentenced by court of law to clean the goop mess around the island, gathering the game's MacGuffins known as Shine Sprites, and finding the actual perpetrator who caused all this to begin with. This doesn't justify these dumbasses don't know the difference between an actual criminal and a human being.
Our first job's to get rid of all that ugliness. And remember, we'll be watching you, pal. We'll know if you start slacking off.
This sure doesn't get old. Later on, Princess Peach gets kidnapped by the actual perpetrator that caused the goop on the island, Shadow Mario, who later reveals himself to be Bowser Jr., the son of King Bowser. Ignore the implications of Bowser fucking Peach.
Mama Peach? I'm your mama?
As Junior and Peach heads towards Mountain. What do you mean I can't say anymore? As Junior and Peach heads towards Mountain, the rest of Mario's adventure is now gathering all the shines in 7 different locations of the island, returning the shines and brightness to Isle Delfino and spraying Shadow Mario in all locations, rescuing Peach again. Before we get to the stages, I want to talk about Mario's new mobility options here, and controlling him in this game feels really good but glitchy at the same time. I'm playing this on the 3D All-Stars collection with the support of the GameCube controller and adapter. This was patched in a few weeks after the compilation's release, and even with the authenticity of the controller in mind, this feels a lot smoother than 64's limited movement of the analog stick group. Oh my god, they even fixed the camera for analog movement too! The new and improved movement makes side somersaults fun to use and abuse, which was my preferred method of getting extra height. That and this tornado spin Mario does when you spin the analog stick in a 360-degree motion. They brought back the dive maneuver from 64 as well as the triple jump and the ground pound. The one trick they decide to remove here is the long jump, which is a damn shame as the long jump was one of Mario's best tricks in the series. Turns out this was done because the right trigger button that is needed for the long jump is replaced to introduce this game's gimmick, Flood.
a flash liquidizer auto
Flood opens Mario's maneuverability to a certain degree, whether if any of these new tricks are beneficial or a limiting hindrance depending on the player's experience and experimentation. Your basic mechanics are set to 2 different types of nozzles. The first nozzle is your simple spray mechanic mapped to the right trigger button on a GameCube. When pressed down slightly, Mario can use Flood to spray the mysterious goop and other enemies in all directions. When pressed down all the way, or when pressing down a separate button for any controller on the 3D All-Stars version, Mario can stay in one place while also spraying in all directions. There is also this sideways spray trick he can do when pressing the left trigger button and the spray button at the same time while moving. But I barely use this. You can also use it to spray the ground and slide like this. Your other base nozzle is the hover nozzle. This lets Mario hover in midair for a few seconds while shooting a powerful amount of water down below. This is mostly used to reach higher areas or correct yourself while platforming, because trust me, the latter will be your reasoning for using this nozzle, because this game can be glitchy sometimes. Later on, you unlock two other new nozzles that, in my opinion, are as situational as the game makes them out to be. The turbo nozzle lets you blast at high speeds and lets you run on water. The rocket nozzle lets you rocket high in the air to even higher heights as the hover nozzle couldn't reach, and lets you do this powerful ground pound that I only used twice. I say these two are situational because during the hunt for shine sprites, you're probably only gonna use the base 2 nozzle for 90% of your runtime. Also, whenever you get the turbo or rocket nozzle, the hover nozzle gets replaced. Why? In fact, why couldn't this game let us switch nozzle with the touch of a game's D-pad? You'll also unlock Yoshi in the middle of the game too, but he is just as situational as the turbo and rocket nozzles as well. He sprays his gut juice, much like Flood, and do his signature flutter jump. Why was he here again? He was only used for certain shine sprites. Hell, he felt a lot more useful and versatile in Galaxy 2 than in this game in my opinion. So yeah, that's it for the game's mechanic. Now let's look over at the most exhausting part of the game, shine sprites and blue coin.
The world of special place. Cherish life and never waste.
Everyone loves a sunshiny day. We're gonna keep it that way.
That's clean is better than dirty, and dirty's meaner than clean.
The amount of shine sprites in the game are the same as 64, only this time there are lesser places to explore than 64's 55 courses. There are over 7 locations of Isle Delfino to traverse through, and all of them contain 11 shine sprites, 8 episode-based shine, 2 hidden shines, and 1 shine being the return of 100 coin missions. This one in particular is even more of a pain in the ass than 64's. Depending on the episode of the stage you're on, you're not guaranteed to gather 100 coins on the first episode. Some levels, if not all of them, are very strict on their coin count and where these coins are played. You gotta be in the right episode if you want 100 coin shine sprite. And if you happen to also complete the episode shine sprite as well as gathering 100 coins, you can't collect both, unlike in 64. Instead, you collect the 100 coin shine, go back to the same area you were in before, and then get that episode shine sprite. This was tiring and it sucks. Was this done to pad out the runtime for the game? It breaks the immersion that you're exploring a tropical setting in 7 different landmarks, and this applies to all the shine sprites in the game. Completing an episode or find a shine sprite within the main hub of the game, you're booted back to the starting point, which kinda makes the game feel repetitive and not in a fun way. Yeah, in games like 64 and the Galaxy games, they're like that too, but at least getting to the next star feels faster than in Sunshine, and have small, manageable hub worlds to move around in. And in the case of 64, the levels are smaller and condensed like a sandbox. In Sunshine, the areas are a little bit bigger, but there are certain missions that lock you to a specific area until you collect your respective shine. In Super Mario 64, you're free to explore the stage and collect stars in any order you seem fit. Rather than following the path that leads to King Babam, why not get this star behind this chain chomp? How about collecting all 8 red coins and getting the 100 coins at the same time? Why not? Nothing is there to restrict your adventurous curiosity of these weird, dreamlike courses. In Sunshine, you are restricted to play episodes 1 through 6 in that order to get that mandatory 7th episode, where you spray Shadow Mario several times for a shine sprite. The 8th episode, the 2 hidden shine sprites, and the 100 coin mission are all deemed optional. No matter how far you're into the game, if you have like half amount of shine sprites in the game already, you need to finish that 7th episode in all 7 locations of Isle Delfino. That's bull. This game locks you behind with getting different shines in a different order, and even if you try, you still need to unlock that 7th episode, like how I skipped shine number 1 in the first area of the game, and instead of moving forward and did the 2nd episode mission of fighting PD Piranha. That doesn't matter because you didn't unlock number 7. Plus, being locked behind certain areas to get 1 shine, only to later get booted out the area afterward, It's so much immersion, but rather annoying. If it sounded like I was comparing Sunshine a lot to 64, then I'm sorry. It's just that, aside from graphics, there were aspects of 64 that was handled better, primarily how MacGuffins are collected. And don't get me started on the blue coins. Getting them is easy, and you use them for shine sprites if you collect at least 10 of them. You see this graffiti? There's a blue coin behind it. Bluebirds also have blue coins, and there are some that are in the open areas, but then you would get coins that are so cryptic in their location. It makes getting all 240 of them not fun at all. You wanna know why it's not fun to get 100, gather all the blue coins and shine sprite? Look at this. This is what you get for 100% completion. If I end up talking about this postcard, I'll end up burning my house down, so I'm not gonna do that. Now you may think, well, you seem to hate this game with a fiery passion, right? Not exactly. I do like Mario's new maneuverability, even if it doesn't have that long jump. I also like playing with the flood nozzle as well. And there are probably some shine missions that I enjoy, but that's where the next section comes to play.
Helping hand, Mario can't do it alone. He'll spray his water to fly around and clean the sludge that's on the ground.
'Cause clean is better than dirty, and dirty's meaner than clean.
Super Mario Sunshine, only for Nintendo GameCube. Rated E for everyone.
So even if the main goal is to spray Shadow Mario several times on the 7th episode of the 7th location, the Shine Sprite missions are at least kinda fun to play through. So there are some episodes that Shadow Mario steals FLUDD away from Mario. Because of this, Mario is now slightly limited to what he can do and perform. One platforming over obstacles to get the shine at the end of the stage. There was also this one mission, similar setup, but here you have to traverse through the underside of a stage, across the flaming hot goo, with the end of the stage seeing you getting FLUDD back right near where the shine sprite is located. And that's pretty interesting. There's also these two set of missions where you race this one guy, which I guess supposed to be a Legend of Zelda reference, but I'm not sure because I don't play a lot of Zelda games. So when you collect all the shine sprites in all 7 locations, including the sprite you collected when you first arrive at Isle Delfino, that's 78 shine sprites. The remaining 42 are all over the hub of the game, Delfino Plaza. Some sprites require a specific nozzle to get them, while many of them involves you going through certain obstacles that are either easy to get by or will cost you your entire life counter and controller. You know the ones I'm talking about. The pachinko stage where the physics are out of the player's control and these pegs just mess with your direction. This poisonous river, which, don't get me started on how you access it, will be a pain in the ass if you fuck up once. There's also hard shit in the 7 locations as well. This fucking watermelon. This watermelon mission alone made me hate these crackers enemies so much. And these are the enemies that will come back in Mario Galaxy. This sandbird may be majestic, but can be very tricky if you don't time your hover nozzle right. This manta ray boss will fuck you up if you land on them at least once and go boing, boing, and boing, and boing. You'll be flying all over the place and lose a life. These balloons in Pinata Park can die and inflate. I'm a truckster, more like I'm gonna fuck you up, you piece of. Oh my god, I gotta think of something positive. I mean, I do like the tropical setting. As someone who grew up in a tropical setting, this does feel right at home. I do like the hotel area where from a bird's eye view, the circular areas look like a GameCube controller. The inside of the hotel also had this casino area open for select missions. I like how the last location looks at night. It's a nice change of pace compared to every other location taking place in broad daylight. They also have this amusement park, a harbor area that is very platform heavy with this scaffolding. I might hate the Pinata NPCs wherever I go, but I do like the atmosphere of the tropical Mario game, despite the immersion of getting booted out of the game per mission. Plus, it's satisfying to abuse a nozzle and see how far it can land platform to platform and clear every goop I find. So remember the missions I mentioned where Mario has to platform without FLUDD? Well, the platforming can be frustrating. I like the surrealism of the background art in some of them. Like this one stage that has background art similar to Yoshi's Island in a way. In fact, the stage with the spinning block is so fun that Mario Galaxy 2 would bring this back in the special world. It has some positives, but like many things in media, sometimes negatives outweigh the bad. Was it unfair to constantly compare Sunshine to 64? Maybe, but my reasoning for those comparisons is still justified and I still stand by them.
Sunshine! Woohoo! Woohoo! Tego! Yeah! Woo!
So yeah, that's my take and experience with Super Mario Sunshine. What a complicated feeling this is. It's clearly a graphical improvement and a step up in visuals and presentation for 3D Mario games at the time. The tropical setting, while it helped make the game stand out compared to other GameCube games at the time, becomes visually boring if you're playing this for a long period of time. I guess the tropical setting was an excuse for Nintendo to utilize the water physics of the GameCube. Why else was its project named Dolphin? The process of collecting shine sprites and blue coins becomes so exhausting and not fun to 100% complete. At least by getting a minimum requirement amount of shine sprites, it makes this game a little tolerable. But at worst, it locks you at a linear path towards getting all the shines, unlike how 64 lets you nab the power stars in any order you seem fit. But I guess a linear mission structure is what future Mario games like Galaxy 1 and 2 were going for in terms of its mission structure. So I guess I can't criticize about that. Then later drop linearity going into Odyssey. Gee, thanks. Don't get me wrong, the criticism I made does not mean that this is by far the worst Mario game. It's still a great game even. I love playing around the FUD mechanics, and there were some of the Shine Sprite missions that I genuinely enjoy, mainly the ones that feature boss fights. In fact, one of my favorite bosses in the game is this one that looks like King Boo, where we fight him in this underground casino. This is also the game that gave us one of the most recognizable bosses in the form of Petey Piranha, and underappreciated as he is. He did make an appearance in Smash Ultimate, so this game has to be worth something, right? And that's it for the video. I want to thank you all for tuning into this video and want to apologize for having you guys wait so long for a brand new Database Network episode. I know I put out an episode last week, but college is still such a bitch. But with college semester being close to over, this gives me more time to focus on putting out more videos like this before the next semester begins. So what are your other games you want me to look at? What are your thoughts on Super Mario Sunshine? Did you manage to complete the game? Let me know down in the comments. Thumbs up the video if you like it, subscribe to the database, and follow me on social media as seen above. I have a new Instagram now, yes, because my old one got hacked. This is Christopher James signing off, and I'll see you guys next time.